said, my name is Nicole Flannery, and I am here to talk to you about the importance of on-site counseling for elementary school students particularly, and how early intervention can really help shape someone's life. I do wish I was here to talk about a more pleasant subject, but as a horrific a topic that I am here to discuss, it is a very important one. I was raised in a home that was rampant with abuse. And after the research I have done, I know statistically that there are others like me, possibly even in this very room. For too long, Kentucky has been known for poverty, lack of education, and increased levels of abuse, especially among our children. That is why today I am here to talk to you about the burning question of how to effectively combat child abuse and support the mental health of our children in Kentucky. For too long, the children have had to deal with neglect and abuse, being put into foster care, and sometimes even forgotten in the system. Did you know that the Commonwealth's rate of 20.1 per 1,000 children being victims of some form of abuse is the highest in the country? The national average is only 8.9. This report was done by Mr. Jared Mills of the Tribune in April of 2021. And this burning issue in our state really needs immediate attention. There are numerous studies that show the lasting effects of child abuse, but in a specific study done by Lambie et al., it shows that childhood trauma and abuse can have devastating impact on a child's development and future productivity in the world as an adult. Abuse of any nature can cause victims to feel isolation, struggling to connect to those around them, feeling unable to talk about what they are going through, fear. A lot of abusers threaten their victim if they tell someone, or are told horror stories from their parents about the foster care system. And distrust. It should go without saying, but if you grow up with the people who are meant to protect and love you hurting you, it makes it harder to trust anyone else, especially those who might exert authority over you, like teachers or police officers. This can translate into lifelong psychological consequences that can manifest as educational difficulties. As educational difficulties. I know that for me personally, I really underachieved in school, but I was so busy trying to focus on survival that doing well on the test just really didn't get it for me. Low self-esteem. Children of abuse often struggle with feelings of inadequacy. They don't understand what's wrong with them, that they are having to go through this when their friends seem to live a normal life. And they tend to be overly harsh with themselves during their failures, not allowing for a lot of mercy if they make mistakes. And they also have trouble forming and maintaining relationships, often because of trust issues, anger issues, or even possibly continuing the cycle of abuse themselves to their friends, to their romantic partners as early as high school, and possibly even growing up to abuse their own children. As a solution to this issue, I believe the accessibility of on-site counselors for the children of Kentucky, especially those in the age ranges of pre-K through 5th grade, will show favorable results in lowering the amount of abuse we see in the bluegrass. It's been too long of an issue that we have expected these parents or guardians that are hurting their children to then also take them to the doctor or a psychologist to get help for the effects that they are having. The benefits of having counseling available in school to these children would mean that they don't have to go through that wall to get the help that they need. They can go to their teacher, and the teacher can help get them in touch with either the on-site or if there is a counselor in the community, and not even mention to the parents what is going on. But we also need to, the benefits of having counseling available in school to these children with a specific focus on helping prevent and address child abuse at home isn't something that I just think is a good idea, but many psychologists in the country, including the Counselors Association. But also, these on-site counselors can provide insights and recommendations to schools, policymakers, and community organizations to help improve the well-being and overall safety of young students in Kentucky and theoretically and hopefully help prevent abuse in the future. The research that I conducted involved peer-reviewed journals, government websites, newspaper articles, and a phone interview with Kentucky's 16th District State Senator Max Wise. Through my research, I found that children having access to mental health professionals has a major impact on childhood development and future quality of life, regardless of abuse in the home, but especially if there has been abuse and trauma in the home. The positive effects of counseling are really numerous. For me, I can't imagine what my life would be without having found my counselor whenever I did. Without mental health for a lot of children, there is no life at all, as victims of abuse are 2 to 3 times more likely to attempt to take their own lives. Some of the positive effects, though, are things like better coping skills, such as meditation, coloring, playing an instrument, or journaling, which is something that I've really done all 3 of in my life, or 4. Children in counseling also tend to have better stress management and stronger emotional intelligence, which will help them forge strong and lasting friendships in not only childhood, but adult life as well. Children who go through therapy are also more likely to have better empathy for others, and they're likely to succeed strongly in their adult life. Luckily, thanks to the Kentucky Senate, and especially District 16 Senator Mr. Max Wise, Kentucky has seen the passing of Senate Bill 102 in April 2021. And with the bill's help, we are already seeing some movement in the right direction. Under this law, the Kentucky Department of Education is required to develop and implement a program that provides access to mental health professionals. This law specifies that these professionals may include licensed clinical social workers, licensed professional counselors, and licensed psychologists, but that they have to be at least one of those things. They have to have the proper training. The law also requires that schools collaborate with community mental health agencies to ensure that once the students are out of the school, that they still have access to a full and wide range of mental health services. This bill is in the process right now of being enacted, and even in Somerset, where I go to school at, we already see the presence of these counselors in our schools. And it was also voted unanimously in our Senate, which is not really heard of a lot. We like to fight politically, but we've all banded together to decide that yes, this is something important for our children. Another study that I reviewed by Brown et al. Listed child-centered play therapy as one of the best tools for counselors to use when it comes to helping young children through traumatic events, such as abuse. This study also emphasizes how play therapy might help strengthen the teacher-child relationship, since, as I said earlier, a child from abuse can build on a lot of distrust, and especially with authority figures. So you see the troubled child in class getting sent to the office a lot. But play therapy has statistically shown that it kind of mends that relationship. It helps the child understand that just because this set of adults are not being nice does not mean that this set of adults will not help them. It helps the child trust, focus, and understand more about the emotions they are currently feeling. The impacts are almost countless and affect everything from social skills, academic success, coping skills, and a better chance of becoming a functional member of society upon adulthood. By implementing on-site counselors in schools, especially with pre-K through 5th grade, we could have limitless impacts on the future of not just America, but the future of the world as a whole. Not to mention that the impact counseling has on the victims in regards to breaking the cycle. Too many children grow up feeling unheard and forgotten, only to have children of their own that ultimately feel the same way because their parents who were once victims themselves. And in the future, we should consider implementing more mental health education in our elementary schools. There is no reason that we can't explain to a 3rd grader the symptoms of bipolar disorder, which is one of the most common disorders in Kentucky. Obviously, we don't want to go into the nitty-gritty with it, but they can understand seeing the mood shifts. They can understand what they can do to help protect themselves. And they can understand how to get help for their friends or family members who might be experiencing it. And thank you for your time. That is all.